similarities, and be it as it may, I think it's very important. So thank you again for doing this, and please continue to do it in the future because it's very important to our profession. So I've got a bunch of cards here, a bunch of random thoughts. I've organized them somewhat, so we'll just see how this kind of comes out. This should be fun. So, you know, I was sitting back there and I kind of rearranged my whole talk at last minute. So as I go through this, I kind of want to give you a quote now and keep it in mind as we go through. It's by Dr. Seuss, and the quote says, "Unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing will change." It's not. Okay? So just keep that in mind as we go. My talk here is going to be a little bit different. My talk, I want to talk to you guys about healthcare and why I feel that we should be leading the movement. Okay? It's going to be kind of a call to action. Sorry, Terry, I know this is going to be a rah-rah for chiropractic because I love it, bro. I love it. But you know, the thing about it is healthcare in our nation right now is changing. Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, however you want to feel about it, healthcare is changing. And whether you want to admit it or not, it's going to change again. And so the thing that you got to start preparing yourself for is, where are you going to be when it does change? Are you going to be on the sideline cheerleading or be one of the ho-hummers and bitching about everything that goes on? Or are you going to be in the field fighting the fight? That's what I want to know. And that's what we need to be getting our minds right for, guys, because I don't know if you guys have done any work for doctors and gone out and seen what it's like. It's scary out there. These people, they have no idea what they're looking for, but they know they don't want medicine. They know they don't want any more drugs or surgery. And that's not the answer any damn way, in most cases. So, you know, we are very distinct in our profession because most other professions are going to compartmentalize the body. You have a problem with your heart, I'm going to give you a heart medication. You have a problem with your arm, we're going to do a surgery on your arm. And so they're constantly chasing and treating these symptoms instead of looking at the body as a whole and really taking time and stepping back and saying, okay, well, what's controlling this pain or what's controlling that, and being able to come back to the nervous system and relaying that. So as I said, they're going through and he's treating these symptoms. So it'd be the same as if I had a plant and I put this plant right here and I gave this plant no sunlight. We blocked off all these windows. I gave the plant no water and we set it here. And I said, you know what? And what's going to happen to this plant? It's going to die. Every time, right? It's a law. Okay? And I said, no. The problem with this plant is the soil. The soil is wrong. The wrong pH. We're going to change the soil. So I changed the soil, and you'd come back in and say, what? It's still dead. It's still dead. Oh, okay. I know. But the problem is these dead leaves on here. So we're going to take these scissors, and we're going to trim these dead leaves off here. And now, doesn't this look a lot better? No, it's still dead. Why? Because I'm treating the symptoms. I'm not going after the cause. The cause is that the problem is the plant needs water. It doesn't need to have the leaves trimmed. It doesn't need new soil. It needs water. We need to get to the cause of the problem, right? Wrong card. So like I'm telling you guys, we have the power, we have the ability, we have, how should I put this? We have the graciousness enough to work with the power that powers the body. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And so, let me give you guys some stats here. Just so I can tell you how bad it is, okay? 1 in 3 women are on an antidepressant. 1 in 3. Somebody else gave you the stat here. 1.6 million, I believe it was Shanda, were diagnosed with cancer last year. That's true. However, 41% of everyone who's born today at some point will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. That's almost a ratio of 1 to 2 people. And so the one that really just is really just a heart-wrencher for me. People magazine did a study recently. One person dies every 24 minutes. due to a drug they shouldn't have had in the first place. How do you feel about that, Ashley?
Not good.
What if this was you and that was your mom? You know what I'm saying? Let's make it real. What if that's you, Palmer, and your parents? Does this hit you guys in the gut? Does this disturb anybody? I can't even look at it anymore. This is real, guys. This is happening in our society, in our community, in our country. Almost every, if not all, of the mass shootings that have been public have been linked to antidepressants. Yet they keep blaming guns on the problem. How much sense does that make? I mean, they're ignoring, once again, the cause. They are ignoring the cause of the problem. And you know, it's not getting any better because the people who are educating these doctors who keep giving these people the medications, they're not doctors. They only have bachelor degrees. These are drug representatives. And they're getting information from their company and saying, this is what's going on. And it's a problem because they're training very, very hard to keep telling this lie. That this drug is going to get these people better. Do you think a person who's been on a heart medication for 15 years and wakes up and says, you know what, I think this is the pill that's going to get my heart healthy today. And they take it and that's the last pill they have to take. No, of course not. Who's that silly, right? Because they keep chasing these symptoms. And so, what I'm saying is we have to get better. We have to get better at telling this truth. That what we have is the most powerful thing. It's the most best kept secret. And no one knows about it. Because while we sit here and we drink every weekend and we party and think that shit doesn't matter and sit here in our chiropractic our bubble, people go home and they die. That's the bottom line. That's the truth. People go home and they die. 1 every 24 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit worked up here. Let's bring it back down. Let's bring it back down. So, you know, I've been telling you guys that they're chasing these symptoms. And, you know, that really the answer lies here within the nervous system, with us. And as someone told you earlier, I believe it was you, we have to get better. And we have to start spreading this and taking this to our patients and the next level and create these warrior patients within our practice. Because it doesn't matter how many people you can reach at a mall or an event. Your internal referrals and your warrior patients are going to be the one that goes and fight the fight for you. And they're going to be the ones who are going to bring more warrior patients into your practice. So he was right on when he was saying, feed into those people. Absolutely, you have to do it. Because if you didn't, quite frankly, you're not doing your job anyway. Because education is a big part of our profession. So, basically, the cause is the body's ability, the cause is the body's ability to adapt, and the cure is the ability to better adapt. And, you know, lifestyle and subluxation are the only thing that bring those out of whack, in a nutshell. And, you know, I wasn't going to tell this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, I wasn't sure if I could tie the nuts and bolts of it together, but I'm going to do it anyway. So the other day I'm watching the movie, anybody here ever seen the movie Lorax? Excellent. It's not just me. So, you know, the end of that movie, you know, if you haven't seen the movie, the whole movie's about trees. And there's this guy, and he likes this girl, and she wants a tree because there's none in her town. And so he spends this movie trying to get a tree for her. And there's one guy who can tell him and get him a tree. So he's going with this guy. At the end of the movie, he gets this seed for the tree. And there's a big chase by the guy who sells oxygen and decorative trees in the town. And he's trying to get this seed because he knows the truth will come out if he allows that seed to get loose, right?
Come on.
I'm gonna get there. We gonna get there. So they get to downtown, and he says, I'm looking for, I don't see anywhere we can plant it. This isn't even real soil. And Grandma's with him. She says, I got this. And she jumps up in this bulldozer, and there's this big golden statue of the guy that sells air in the town. And she knocks the head off this statue. And that got everyone's attention in this town around. And they go, boy, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, I'm trying to plant a tree. And you know what they said to him? I'm sure you guys know. Why do we need a tree? You guys ever feel that way? Why do I need chiropractic? Why do we need a tree? And he said, exactly. Oh, hair comes out of nowhere. The guy who sells hair comes out and he says, exactly. And he said, why do you need a tree? And he looks at the janitor and he goes, oh man, they're filthy. Those leaves, they just make mess anywhere. You have to clean them up. Oh my God. And that sap, it attracts bees and ants. You guys ever feel like that? You ever feel like the medical model does that too? Oh, don't go to a chiropractor. You'll have a better chance of stroking out. Oh, don't go to a chiropractor. You have to go see them for a lifetime. They spread that bullshit, don't they? And they tell those lies. And these people, they believe it. And that's the problem. Is that these people believe it, and they keep going back, even after you tell them the truth, even after you break it down so simple for them, it's like, how could you not get it? They still go back to the same medical model and still get the same end result, don't they? And it's like beating your head against the wall. And so eventually the little girl says, tell the truth. The reason you don't want trees is because they make air. And he said, oh, you made that up. You made that up. Tell me that doesn't sound familiar. They do that to us all the time. And so they end up saying that, things aren't perfect, but nothing's going to get better unless we start to work towards it. And so that's what I'm asking of you guys today, is that we start to work towards getting better. Because this isn't going to get better if we continue to sit on the sideline and let the people of the past and the people who are now in the emerging stars, you know who I'm talking about, if we let them continue to fight the fight and say everything and we don't have another new class, another new generation such as ourselves come up and spread this, we're in trouble as a profession.
That's good.
That's the bottom line, guys. We're in trouble as a profession if nobody else is going to step up to the problem. And so, I've already told you guys, he told you the problem. The problem is we're over-medicated. And it's not getting better. And they don't care. I told you, 1 in 3 women are on an antibiotic. 1 in 4 children are on a prescription for a chronic disease. 1 in 4 children. I know you guys know 4 children each. Does one of them need to be on a medication? I shouldn't ask that as such a general question. I should maybe draw that back. But where I'm going with this is that we're just over-medicated as a population. If you were to go out and if you were screening however many people you wanted to, and you asked them, do you think we need more drugs, more surgery? The answer is no. I don't think anybody in this room, let alone anybody you surveyed, would say yes. Excuse me. There's a point I was going to make here. There's a point I had for you guys right here. That was it. That was it. That no one would agree that we need more drugs or surgery, yet it happens more and more each day. We have more drugs, more surgery, more technology than any other developed nation. Yet, where do we rank in the world amongst healthy, quality years? Does anybody know? 44, 47, somewhere. Third world countries are beating us out. And that's a problem. We've got, like I said, more drugs, surgery, technology, and what else do we have the most of? Disease and sick people. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Because these people keep lying, they keep spreading lies, and they're doing everything in their power to cover us up. They keep doing everything they can to narrow our scope of practice, like they tried to do in Texas, and they're trying to do in Connecticut, until we just want to say, you know what, let's just do small surgery, let's just do whatever we can, just to exist as a profession. I don't know if anybody else in this room is not okay with that, but I'm not. And I'll be the first to raise my hand and go to fight for it. Because I love chiropractic. This is the best kept secret. And BJ said it back in 55. 55. And I'm going to tell you what he said, straight from his mouth, because I can't say it any better. I'm just going to give you the tail end of this. He said that and he was talking about the innate intelligence has been entirely overlooked, ignored, and in many instances even denied that there is such. This is the most overlooked thing in our society today. And it's so basic. You know, what controls healing in the body? What controls healing in the body, chiropractors? That's exactly right. And the brain and spinal cord are just your conduit for that. And we have the ability and the privilege to work with that. The innate intelligence is exactly what controls that. And so when we go out here and we tell these people this, they look at us as if we're weird. It's like, what are you talking about? Innate intelligence. And I don't think it's weird. I actually think it's more weird to not acknowledge it. To acknowledge what keeps you alive. Because you've never had to tell your body, hey, keep me breathing while I sleep. Digest this food that I just ate. Yet, your body does it. And so is it weird for me to acknowledge and say, hey, I wonder how that works? Or is it more weird to say, hey, luck of the draw, I'm young. I got this. I'm a boss. No. So to me, it's just more weird to not acknowledge it. And I told you guys the problem. And if I haven't came out and said it, I've been hinting at it. And this is it. We're the answer. We are the solution, guys. And if you don't know that, you got to get to know that, and you have to get comfortable with it now. Because like I told you, these people are sick, they're over-medicated, they've had too many surgeries, and they don't know what the answer is, but they know they don't want to go back. They know they don't want to go back. You know, $700 billion are spent in unnecessary tests. $700 billion in unnecessary tests. You know what the average CT scan goes for? I looked it up. It's about $2,200, $3,000. Who would work for $3,000 a year from one patient? I would. Give me $3,000. I'll adjust you all year. We'll get you set up and we'll get you taken care of. And then we're going to do that with the next person, and the next person, and the next person. Before you know, that number is going to fall. 500 billion, 400 billion. Because that person's going to tell another person, and that person's going to tell another person, and we're going to have these warrior patients. But we have to be willing to go to fight, guys. And we have to be willing to stand up and tell this truth. And not be afraid, and not have to worry about, well, medical science doesn't say this. And medical, you know, we're not really supported by here. You know, we're not, I call it bullshit. We're smarter than that. We're smarter than that. And for those of you who've had Dr. Hagen in Philo 3, you've heard the story. For those of you who haven't, you will hear the story about where he talks to a medical doctor, and the medical doctor says, you guys are light years ahead of us. You guys are so far ahead of us. So far ahead of us. We haven't, you'll hear the story if you haven't. And those who have, I don't need to elaborate. But it's true. These guys, the medical doctors, they don't study what we study. And I know I'm beating up on medicine a little bit, but thank God they're there. You break a bone, I can't adjust that. You get shot, hey, I am not the guy to come see. Okay? I can't help you there. But for day-to-day things that aren't an emergency, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, what controls the heart? A nerve. What do I work with? The nervous system. It's not, well, it is science, but it's not tough to see, guys. I was going to say it's not rocket science, but, and, you know, another part of the problem is you know, a little bit of an old stat, but back in 2007, we spent $2.4 trillion on health care, which at that time was 17% of our gross national product. 17% for health care. See, I have a bit of a problem with that term too. Health care. Let's see. I can't go to you when I'm healthy to get better. I can't use my insurance, my health insurance, until something's gone wrong and I don't feel healthy and I need to get there. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to give me a drug, which is toxic and poisonous to my body anyhow. How is this health? It's not. It's not. It should be called sick care. It should be called urgent care. Because that's when they do their best work. When you've had a stroke, when you've been shot, when you're in a hurry. Would you disagree? That's when they do their best work. When they're under the gun. No pun intended. Yeah. Average American to retire needs $250,000 just for medical costs alone. You know, how many of you guys know someone ages 60 on no medication? Raise your hand. 3, 4, 5, 6. I see a lot more hands down than I do up. You know, the average number of medication a person is on at the age of 60 is 11. 11 medications at the time of 60. Studies show that if you are on 4 medications or more, 80% chance that one of them is for a side effect of another drug. And they know this, yet they keep pushing it because our voice isn't loud enough. But we're getting there. Are we not? We're gaining momentum. But we just can't be sideliners. We can't be naysayers or rah-rah and go with the pack and just say, you know, yeah, what you're doing's wrong or what you're doing's right, and just stand on the sideline. We have to get in this fight, and we have to lead this movement, guys. We have to. These people don't know what health is, but we do. We know that the only way the body heals is from above down, inside out, and no other way. It doesn't heal from pills. It doesn't heal from surgery. It comes from within, from your innate intelligence, right? All right, I can see you guys are getting bored of me. I'm going to wrap this up. I lied. No, I'm not. You know, I spoke to some people yesterday at a meeting, and I'm going to kind of... I'm going to piggyback that. But I wanted to read you guys a little BJ quote. And when I competed for Mr. Chiropractic, the first time it was put on, I used this quote. However, the reason I'm reusing it is because I overlooked something pretty big. And that was right here. It says, in all those fields, he's talking about all these other medical fields, you know, psychologists, medical fields. The general fundamental is the educated mind thinks wrong and causes the body to go sick, or the body gets chemically imbalanced and this causes the mind to go sick. Think about that. What is it? Is it the body causing the mind to go sick, or the inverse? And so the other part of this that I missed, it says, in other event, the trick is to get man's educated mind to think right and to get the body well. Or balance the physical and chemical properties that get the mind well. That was the part I missed. And I picked up the quote, and then I said, you know, the mind, as obtuse a term as that is the education man builds from birth to death. The fundamental cause of all disease, and this is what I've been telling you guys the whole time I've been standing here, this whole time right now, the fundamental cause of dis-ease lies between the innate intelligence and the body. The interference to the normal and natural quantity efferent flow between the innate intelligence and the body, and the inverse, which is going to be from the body to the innate intelligence. That's where all disease lies. BJ said it back in '55, and now it's becoming more evident every day. Every scientific study they put out, it's becoming more and more concrete, and it's going more and more on our side. So while Palmer isn't doing the chiropractic research that some of us think they should, these guys are over here doing it, thinking whatever of it, and we're just stashing away saying, yeah, that proves our case. Thank you. That proves our case. I'll take that one too. So this, and BJ goes on to say, this interference can make either sick. Chiropractic has found this simple Pacific, that knowledge has simplified the entire question of life and death, health and sickness, sanity and insanity, to one place, corrected one way. Beyond that, what more is there? It is the union of mind and body, soul and physical, spiritual and material, and the nature of this link unites one to each other. And then I finished it, and I already told you guys then, it says, and this entity has been ignored, overlooked, and in many instances by scientists, just flat out denied. But the problem is that we're not the only ones that acknowledge that this power we have inside of us to heal. I lost my class, sweet. So I'm gonna finish up by telling you guys this. Someone spoke about cancer earlier, and the other night, I was watching a show, my fiance. It's called The Parenthood. And this show is really normalizing cancer. It really is. So they show this woman, and she gets breast cancer. Okay? As we know, that's one of the top 3 cancers for women, right? So she gets breast cancer, and her husband buys her this Vitamix. And he's making her these kale shakes. And they weren't good. In fact, she threw it up. And she couldn't deal with it anymore. And so they take her off everything. You can't pick the kids up. You can't do this. You can't do that. And so naturally, anybody would go out of their mind, go a little bit crazy. And so one day she snaps and she says, "No, I'm going to pick the kids up." And she does. And then what's she do? When she shows up to pick up the kids, she's got ice cream and cotton candy with her. So she's sneaking around. Now the problem, they're showing you the cause and the solution. I mean, we all know that a healthy cell feeds off of oxygen, while a diseased cell is going to feed off of sugar. In fact, they have 8 times more receptors for sugar than normal cell. So she's eating these cotton candy, she's eating this ice cream, and she's further fueling the bad. And so then it gets better. Her friend comes over, her mother-in-law comes over, and she's like, "Oh, honey, I have this jacket for you. I have this jacket for you. You'll be the 7th person to wear it going through chemo." See how they're normalizing this? You're going to be the 7th person to go through this and to overcome this. And so what if it was the 7th person to come through your office with cancer and have survived and had that story to tell? What if that was it? But it starts with you. You have to be willing to tell the story. You have to be willing to go to battle and tell the truth and saying, "You know what? You know what, Nick, I know you got asthma, and I don't know if I can help you with that, but what I can do is I can lay you down and I can check you for subluxation. Because I know that with no pressure on your nervous system, your body's going to be able to heal and function than if it did have that pressure on its nervous system. Lay down, let's get checked." It's as simple as that, guys. It's not about pain. It's about nothing else than the innate intelligence and checking for subluxation and removing that interference, because the body doesn't need any outside help. It just needs no interference. God made the body and He doesn't need any help either. He just needs no interference. So I challenge you guys to get better. Because as Dr. Seuss said, unless somebody like you cares a whole lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Thank you for your time.